person who did take the photos was Neil Kenlock. He is actually the owner of all these photos that you're seeing here today. And he has done this, as he explained to me, from, you could almost say boyhood, from he was quite young. And he is a photographer, a professional photographer. But he was more than that. He was visionary, and he saw the importance of preserving history by way of photographs. And I think today has really manifested that vision in the sense that we are looking at some very powerful stories that are told in picture. I think this is a very valuable exhibition for our community. I speak of the Caribbean community because the period of time that our people have come to this country, it must not be overlooked that although we celebrate 70 years of Windrush, that prior to the arrival of the Empire Windrush, the soldiers, actually came out of the Caribbean to join the British Army, both in World Wars I and World War II, but World War II more so, because it was after the destruction that took place here in World War II that Britain invited the members from the Caribbean to be part of the rebuilding of Great Britain. And the folks who came here came in earnest. They certainly wanted to make their contribution as well as to be employed. And there is no question as to the worth of the contribution that they have made. We celebrate not only 70 years of Windrush, we celebrate also 70 years of the NHS. And what that shows is that there is a parallel between the two. And that is because the number of nurses who came to this country and helped to build this institution, which is now known as one of the best healthcare systems in the world, the largest employer of labor in the world outside of China, that this is an institution that was supported and helped, the people of the Caribbean helped to build it. It's no wonder I'm standing right here by a photo of one of the midwife nurses who came here, and they did, I would say, a miracle. Now, they did this, in an environment which was not very comfortable for them. They were seen as foreigners, as people who did not belong to England, and they were sort of treated in that way. And don't forget the colonial past and the past of the slavery and so on. All of this, I think, would have abounded to the mindset that was dominant at the time. But as we are in Jamaica and the Caribbean, a very determined, focused people who have a very high self-worth and know ourselves, know what we're about, and for that reason, we stood the course, and this led to the emerging of leaders such as Courtney Law, whose picture is somewhere on the outside, advocating for human rights and the change of the law and this kind of thing. So that today, I say this with a lot of humility. I've met my colleagues, from Africa and persons from other countries who actually say to us, had it not been for the work of the Jamaicans who came here and stood up, we probably would not have a place here. And that, I think, speaks volumes to that.
So you've just mentioned, obviously, Jamaica as kind of the main country that this is looking at. But who else are these pictures showing? Who do you want to come here and look at this exhibition?
This exhibition has to be seen by the second, third, fourth generation of persons from the Caribbean who have been sort of, to some extent, in the wash as to their identity. People growing up in a country, after a few generations, you tend to lose that sense of your roots. And I believe that without a good sense of who you are and your history and your culture, as advocated by Marcus Messiah Garvey, you're likely to be, how he described it, a tree without roots. You're likely not to have a sense of who you are, your value, your rights, things of that nature. And so I believe that it's very important that the children from the schools would have an opportunity to come and to be guided through these photos and to explain to them what they represent. I must say, and put a plug in here, it's for this reason that the Jamaica High Commission is putting together a legacy publication, a compilation of about 500 persons who have made a significant contribution to the well-being of the United Kingdom from our community. And the purpose of that is for posterity. It is for the coffee table books in the homes of children who are growing up and are not aware of those who laid the foundation, those who have built a legacy, and that there is a mission to be carried on. Unless that is done, many of our young men, young women are going to be sort of defined by what other people say about them rather than what they know about themselves.
Tell me how important it is for you as High Commissioner to see this in the motherland, as it were, in England, and how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel that there is a progress, that these sort of reminders and preservation of this era of our history, that it is not lost. We are here in the building of the Black Archives here in Windrush Square, which has sought to preserve work, like this. But it has to go beyond just a few days of exhibition. Something of this quality and nature, I think, has to be documented by way of documentaries, using the modern social media technology to get it into, the homes and into the schools and into the hands of young people who are growing up, who can understand the foundation that was laid, the foundation in which they walk in this country. So I really believe that this is something that should not be just seen as well as celebration, independence celebration or a Windrush celebration event. It should be seen as the beginning of a lifelong presentation and preservation of important parts of our history that many do not know. I'd like for the children to come to know the persons who we are seeing on the wall by name, to understand what they did, to understand how that affects their lives today, and for them to have the desire to follow in the footsteps of these pioneers and to continue to build the history that others someday can see their picture on the wall.